Hello everyone, my name is Scorpion and welcome back to another reset update. So, of course, Destiny, like I said before, is kind of slowing down, so this is the time that I usually would compress them into one video, but I'm going to keep presenting the Eververse and reset all together. But aside from that, I want to mention, right now, at current, the only guaranteed videos are going to be reset and TWAB. Of course, I will be, like I said, streaming here and there more frequently to my YouTube channel. Like I said, though, it will be likely games that aren't Destiny, just because my personal kind of schedule has always been with the last season of the year, play Destiny once the season winds down. I do some checklist stuff like chasing exotics and seals, but aside from that, I'm really not playing that much Destiny. So, aside from that, it's time to get into the reset update. So, we do have active Iron Banner this week, which, of course, like usual, this is the third time, and I would usually say is the last. Now, I'm going to say with caution that this is the last appearance of the season, because being that this is essentially a double-length season, if they don't implement more happenings of Iron Banner before next season when Final Shape drops, I would be a bit disappointed in Bungo. But aside from that, like I said, there is the shader, the emblem, new gear, one new thing, one returning, that is still available. And the mode for this week on Iron Banner is currently... we have Iron Banner Tribute, which is essentially the collect stuff that drops from enemies, deposit them in certain place. Think Bounty Hunt from Titanfall. Or I think it's no, not Cranked. Whatever the one in Call of Duty where you pick up tags and bank them in one central area. But, of course, there is Tribute as well as Control, in case you were curious. That is still there. And Iron Banner is still running on the basis of, basically, if you complete challenges, you get the rep boost. If you wear gear, you get the rep boost. But you don't have to wear anything that is element-specific for your subclass. And as well, with Crucible, it may not say it in Iron Banner, but there is also a rep booster going on for Crucible. So this is a good time to grind out Banner and Crucible all at once if you want to make it a little bit easier. But then going throughout as well, for 3v3 labs, we currently have Checkmate Clash in case you want a smaller 3v3 elimination. Speaking of elimination, 3v3 Quick Play is currently active, competitive is as usual, and we also have Zone Control for 6v6 Quick Play, a little basic stuff around the board. Then, doubling back into strikes, the current strike for this week on the Grandmaster is the Hypernet current, which I forget if it is truly a hard one, because I only did this once or twice back the last time it was a Nightfall, so I don't have that much experience grinding my head against the wall or just doing it once and never visiting it again. However, the current available weapon for this week is something that has come back around once before. It is not anything new to this season. It is the Solar Bow Prey Osteonyx Adept, which is, what, like I said, available from the Grandmaster. There is a few good rolls of it. It is one of my more favored legendary bows in the variety. But, of course, if you can't do Adept, the basic version is, of course, available, which is still almost equally good. You just need to actually get the roll you want. But on that note as well, moving forward with the Hypernet current, its current active modifiers, all three elemental shields, and we also have Unstoppable and Overload, acute arc threat, so be sure to spec out for incoming arc damage. The Grandmaster modifiers as usual, Extinguish, Limited Revives, Epitaph, which is basically when Taken dies, it will do the large bloop, which may be actually strong enough to one-shot kill you. And as well, Chaff and No Radar, then the usual seasonal overcharge weaponry, then Stasis and Solar Surge, a little fire and ice, with overcharge grenade launchers. So if you want to spec out accordingly, those are your bonuses. Then getting into Gambit, there is nothing new in Gambit as usual, but then darting over to the Legends tab, currently for Crota's End on Challenge Mode, we have Equal Vessels, which is Omnigul Challenge, which is also Third Encounter Challenge. And for our weekly rotation exotic mission, it is Vox Obscura, which for this one, I would say this is one you can skip unless you're still hunting some stuff back from Season 16, which at this point is kind of actually quite outdated in terms of perk rolls, but still craftable and still pretty decent. And nice mission. I just wish the exotic to farm for was a little bit better. Then in terms of rotations throughout the world, for our farming dungeon, it is Spire of the Watcher, which as usual means that Master Mode is available. You can't get your Artifice Armor for it. Now, this is one of the ones I would say only do if you need the Master Mode clear for the Hierarchy of Needs Catalyst, or just need challenges helping out people with their first, the variety. Because this dungeon is definitely not worth farming for anything other than normal if you are hunting hierarchy of needs and other stuff like that. Then for our farming raid, it is currently in the Garden of Salvation, which is another thing that's a bit outdated. Its weapons are still outdated. There is no craftables earning. Yes, you can farm out infinitely for the weapon rolls that you want, but at the same time, no random rolled exotic, as Divinity is the quest exotic. So if you wanted a reason to go back, yeah, basically all challenges being active and gear, but aside from that, it's just cosmetics and nothing else. But from that note as well, getting in through the rest of the world, I'll delve back to the other raid challenges later. But for Neomuna, currently we have the Vex Incursion Zone in Ahimsa Park for Vex Strike Force, as well as Partition Ordnance, the annoying one where there's the blooper the entire time. And then for our weekly farming mission, it is Breakneck, which is that one that has all the Vex that everyone farms out for rep, as well as just some quick farm kills. Now, going, like I said, doubling back for our raid rotators, Last Wish is currently summoning Ritual for its challenge, which I think is either Kali. No, actually, yeah, it's Kali, the first encounter challenge. And Garden has all things active. I pressed a button too many times, it seems. Then going back over to Europa for the Deepstone Crypt, we currently have the Of All Trades challenge, third encounter challenge. A bit annoying, recommend a well-oiled team for that. For the Throne World, we have that's Presage. For Valor the Disciple, we have Swift Destruction, which is first encounter challenge. You have to kill the Unstoppable Abominations relatively within a few moments of each other. Vault of Glass, we have the Only Oracle for You challenge, which is Oracle challenge. You cannot break the same one more than once in a row. Then for King's Fall, we have the Grass is Always Greener, which I think is first encounter challenge. I always forget for King's Fall, like I say. Then, rounding it back around for Root of Nightmares, we have the All Hands Challenge, which, if I recall, is second encounter. No, that's crossed. Actually, no, this one is just a straight Nezarec Challenge. So, there you go, in case you want to get some extra loot. However, like usual, there is no Master Mode available. Now, that is, I believe, all raids I can think of. Then, darting over to Eternity before we get into seasonal stuff, the Master Mode Dares of Eternity setup is Taken, Cabal, and Zydron for the Legendaires Rotator. Now, in terms of seasonal stuff, we are starting to wind down, and I will say there was something to suggest that we will be getting more story down the future. I know, obviously, Bungie had sent themselves with the extra thing. They are implementing something to actually directly add more content in the downtime of the season, but at the same time, they did make a post that said the first 7 weeks of this season are complete. Which, when they say something like the first 7, that includes a possibility of another 7 weeks. But then, getting into other things, the coil rotation is currently the Sensorium on the Pavilion, First Steps on the Cell of the Sycophant, Divining Hall, and then Sensorium in the Reaver's Orison. Which, after reading these back and forth, there's not a lot of different things happening in the coil. There's just kind of the same things. Then as well, Chill Touch, this is actually a pretty tricky one for endgame. Basically, being hit by enemy melees will slow you. So if you get overwhelmed by Thrall, good luck, you're going to be overwhelmed. But aside from that, as well, Starcrossed as always, I don't think there is another new thing. I'm just a little bit behind in collecting everything. Hell, I'm not even in the rank 100 in the season, but like I said, I don't think there's more coming out with that just yet. Usually by now, if it's catalysts or anything, there isn't much else being hunted in the Starcrossed mission. So if there's something new, there's something new. If not, then don't be surprised if the exotic mission has likely run everything it can. But on that note, going throughout the rest of the world, so checking with Banshee, then Eververse and Ada for the shaders. Banshee, as always, is got some stuffs, but not all of it exactly worth it. So we have Luna Lotta 4B, something I talk about a lot. Pretty nifty for stasis bows, but at the same time, lightweight frame. It's a bit old. It's running out of decent perks. Would recommend something with Headstone. And we have Timeline's Vertex all the way back from Season 10. While this roll is pretty good, it is still a basic solar adaptive frame fusion that is quite old. No origin perks, not craftable, not anything really worth it aside from the basic roll. So if you have better, I'd recommend just using it. Same thing with Vulpecula. While it is a stasis hand cannon, does have Headstone, I would recommend, even from the same season, I would recommend Ias Luna over this if you're looking for a stasis hand cannon with Headstone. But also not craftable either of them, so if you want a good looking gun, this is pretty much what you're going for. Then we have Disparity, which another one, Stasis with Headstone, but this one is also craftable. An aggressive 4-round burst pulse rifle from Season of the Seraph. I would generally recommend that you get this thing crafted, as the roll that you can buy from Banshee will only get you so far when you can just make it. Same thing goes for Bump in the Night. Well, this isn't at all meta anymore just because of the change with Chill Clip and Galahorn, nerfing the, let's just say, the compatibility with the two. This is still a pretty decent rocket launcher, however, in terms of damage metas, it is just kind of there as an option if you need it, but while at the same time not exactly being in many people's go-to slots nowadays. Then, wrapping it up with our cosmetics. We'll admit, not that many outliers that seem actually worth it this week. On the front page, we have Whispered Sheen, which is a nice silver, gold, and velvet look. It's kind of piratey because obviously from the pirate season, but at the same time, this looks a little bit better on just the weapons from the same season. Then we also have Metropolitan Acoustics, which is a simple white, greenish with some blue. It does look pretty clean on some retrospect things, but at the same time, don't know if this is worth using in a full set, maybe for just some gear color. And we also have the Reek Oracle Transmat, which is basically one of the last new transmats that never was remade again. Then we also have the Eggshell, in case you wanted to turn your ghost into the egg turrets from Portal. Without the guns, though. Still can't shoot. And last on the front page, we also have the High Seas Dance Pack from the Season of the Plunder as well, which is basically this a lot. And then it just ends, as most of the emotes do nowadays. And really quick before getting into it, like before, the flashback to Season of the Undying is still going on. If you want to get anything from the Battle Pass, it is still available, whether it be armor, emotes, finishers, ships, or the rank 100 ornament. You can just straight up buy them if you still want to hunt them down. I don't think they'll be around for much longer, though. I can't say for certain when they're going away, but it's been around 2 or 3 weeks, and these didn't exactly last the full season. So get them while you can if you're going to. Then into the main Bright Dust store, we have Verdigris, or Vertigra, or however you say, which is nice cyan mint bluish, but like I said, better for weapons than armor, I think. Titan Slate, which is basically a dark white and red one, which I would advise if you have something like Fatebringer or something that glows, use it because essentially it makes it into a nice Sith look in case you want to rep your favorite Star Wars villains. Then we also have Lucid from Season of the Chosen, which I think is supposed to be emulant of the Lucent Hive, which does look good thematically, but hard to exactly spec out unless you're customizing with lots of different shaders. And we also have Trinity from the same comparative season, which is more of a silver and green. Don't exactly get where Trinity comes from on the name, because I only see silver and green. Trinity usually refers to 3 colors, or at least a combination of the 3. Then for Transmats, we have the Reflection Effects back from Season of Osiris, which is basically his reflection blip. Reef Shimmer, which is just a nice bright purple bleh. And then we have Inflorescence, which is another one of those many blue rarity shaders redone into purple and given a new name back from early days of Bungie. Then we also have the Stress Ball emote, which is a great one where you're basically just squeezing a Hive Ghost over and over again, but when it ends, it goes pop, and you're just left without a Stress Ball. Then we also have the Unacceptable emote, which well, that is an emote, but again, Bungie's really bad at making emotes where they have a smooth start and they have a thing, but then they just end. Please, at least finish the animation. And we also have Wanderer's Shell, which is from Season 15. I forget if this is supposed to be Death Stranding or just a shell to look cool, but nifty little just hazmat shell. And we also have Celestial Kestrel, which is way back from Season of the Chosen, with the Constellation set, which is basically a Tauros bull ship. I said bull ship, YouTube. Now, on that front as well, we also have the War-Torn Peregrine, which is from Season of the Haunted. If you ever wanted a basic Sparrow that looked like it's been through hell in a war zone, this is for you, but otherwise it is a basic Sparrow with a clearer trail, but, you know, still a little raggedy. And we have Omnipotentia, which is basically a nightclub ornament back from when Lightfall just came out, before people really realized that all that was good for Neomuna was a short campaign, before anything else came out. And lastly, and least as always, we have Daily Bread Transmat. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be anything other than just people trying to keep up our cholesterol. And to wrap it all up, before dog starts barking in the background, hopefully, we have Bergerzia Knights, which is basically from the Black Armory, one of those rare shaders. It is live, it is animated, it's just kind of hard to see exactly how animated on the previous screen. You can kind of see it in my fusion rifle. It does look pretty good on weapons, and of course, is from Black Armory, which is all about weapons, but in armor, it's kind of hard to exactly tell. Then we also have Flowers of Io Worn, which is basically supposed to be Io, but you're looking a little dirty, which nowadays just looks like a yellow that doesn't match anything, because obviously Io isn't here anymore. And we have New Monarchy Diamonds, another one of the Faction Blue rarity shaders, which is one of the better looking ones. While a bit dull now in comparison, it still looks a lot cleaner than some of the random purple ones that come now that don't have any of the colors in the shader icon in the actual shader. And with that, thank you for watching. My name is Matt Scorpion, and I will see you in the next video.